Good good morning, afternoon, and evening, Mr. Reeves.
Good, Mr. Quickly, how are you?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. How about yourself?
Good. Uh yeah, I mean you're not wearing hearing aids at the moment. I'm not wearing hearing aids at the moment, but one day might come when these medical technologies might help us to live a little longer if we can avoid the maze of and jungle of life and stay healthy and prosperous and more importantly blessed. Let's just jump right in and people might join us, which is great. Um, if that's okay with you.
Mhm.
All right. We talked yesterday briefly or the day before about the incident on around 2:30 or so on Friday on Carmel Street. And just when you brought it to my attention, I was thinking about your involvement with the Connecticut violence folks and your life involvement. In fact, you and I just I remember one of the earlier times I saw you when you had your operation on Dixwell Avenue, and I go there because we were chatting, and you had mentioned I think that you had to leave for a homework assignment or something for your young person, and I bring that up as people might be joining us about what does that have to do with violence and just it's not just protesting or petitions or signs or even Zoom calls, but it's really just impacting people's perception of what accountability is and love and responsibility and people looking up to us. So there's so many young people right now as we do this Zoom call that we might not even know that we can impact if we can reach out to them. I mean, this issue of gun violence, and just lastly, let me just say, I shouldn't say lastly, but we forget that Winchester Arms, Colt, that we this Connecticut has a lot to do with guns in America. Not to mention that other countries, it's not a big problem. Uh, but let's any thoughts in terms of what I just said in that regard?
So, thoughts, right? First of all, really quick, just in terms of Winchester, I had a conversation with my uncle one day, and he had mentioned like when Winchester Firearms was in our community making guns, we didn't have this many guns on the streets as we do now, right?
Mm-hmm.
In our communities, and I thought that that was really funny because
Yes.
black people still had issues with, oppression back then. They worked in the factories. Why wouldn't they want to own firearms at that particular time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just one of those thought processes. But then you mentioned, me bringing my daughter to my job, during those times after school to help with homework and stuff like that. And one of the things I realized is, young people they don't have enough opportunities throughout the community to get involved with anything. So,
Mm-hmm.
we have our small children who have some after school programming and, things like the Boys and Girls Club, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of those things are paid things. So the parents that can pay for those opportunities. And some may get a stipend into the system, but they can't accommodate every single kid, right? But we have our 14-year-old population, that 14 to 21, 25-year window, who has no opportunities inside of the community after school, basically. So they're leaving high school and they're just wandering after that, right? They don't
Mm-hmm.
really have a real robust programmatic system in place inside of the city for them to operate after school for further education and remedial education or whatever the need may be. And I think that now when we talk about accountability, I like to talk about accountability from our side of the fence,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's our job as parents, as community residents, as members to recognize this thing that we don't have in our community for our children and then do something about it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not keep looking for the outside people that don't have connections to our community, can't really walk into the community and get the kind of trust that we can to come in and fix things, right? We know we're broken from a number of areas, but we have every scientist, every doctor, every 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 great intelligent mind at our disposal inside of our community to find a cure and an ailment, for what we currently see today. And will it happen overnight? No. But it can happen. We just have to know our role in the pursuit of progress as it
Indeed.
relates to, the Black community.
Indeed. And Jerry, welcome. Sean and I kind of plunge right in. And again, Sean brought to my attention the shooting on Carmel and Percival on Friday around 2:32, and it seems to me, Jerry, that you and I could have been having this conversation 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So there's no particular format. Just glad you could join us and steal yourself away from your favorite football game. Do you have a favorite football team, Jerry?
Yeah, my team played yesterday.
Okay, so you are free today.
Yeah, I'm free today.
All right. So,
Once Sean let me know, he let me know. I put a reminder in my phone, and here I am.
excellent. Jerry, I'm not going to refer to you. I know we haven't talked too much one-on-one, but I've seen you around town and you've seen me around town.
Mhm.
Uh, and although this show is recorded, I don't want to call you by. Let me just say that your better half has some loving names for you that she puts on Facebook almost all the time.
Yes, she does.
In terms of where you guys are going, I'm not going to reiterate any of those names, but they come from such a deep, loving place, and that
Mhm.
we were chatting about Sean and I. What does it mean to display love to everyone? But Jerry, what's some of your thoughts about where do we go from here? As you know, I'm the alder in Ward 28, and this most recent homicide did occur in my ward. And I'm not that I'm taking it particularly personally, but when you become an alder, you do swear to kind of advocate and be progressive and try to be impactful in
Mhm.
terms of your ward. So when Sean called you, so share with us a few of your thoughts in this regard.
Really quick before you answer that question, because I want to acknowledge that Jerry has a
Okay.
position now, that's different than just Mr. Jerry Randall. So,
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Fill me in.
listen, so it's important that we acknowledge ourselves and our capacities because we are the change that we want to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we're when our children are now not really invested into religion, however it may seem, they got to know that it's important, that religion is important for all of us. I don't care, we're ex-drug dealers, whatever the case may be, we all carry some form of religion in our lives in order to have changed and gotten to a better place. So
Mm-hmm.
please, Mr. Randall.
I see just a lot of unavailable unavailability from the people who have the information.
Mm.
Um, I didn't catch what my brother Sean had said, but I kind of know what he does and where his mindset is at. And it's all about us making ourselves available to the people. And I don't think our presence in our community is felt enough in order to advocate the change that we actually want to see happen. I
Mm.
believe I believe wholeheartedly from what had happened from the 80s and the 90s with the crack cocaine era. I believe there was a separation from from parents to children with the knowledge of information that needed to be passed down. And I think that a lot of people became scared to talk to the youth because of what they saw going on out there. But I feel like myself and other brothers that have come from that lifestyle that we're able to reach those, what I mean, that are on the borderline of making, those decisions that can lead them down a path that could be detrimental to their health. And I believe wholeheartedly that we just need more men and women out there just really doing the work.
Mm.
It's one thing to come on these type of podcasts or platforms and speak what we're saying, but I think we really need to make our presence felt on a regular basis. But I also feel that so many people who want to do the work don't actually have the information on how to present it. So
Mm.
a lot of times I believe that even the ones that want to do the work need to be taught how to do the work. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're putting together now. platforms where we can start educating those that, are able-bodied and want to, see the change in their neighborhoods, get the information that the people can relate to. Because, Brother Sean had mentioned that I'm heavily involved in the church, right? And I believe that the church presence hasn't been felt enough in our communities no more. I believe that the church have started to hide behind the four walls instead of really getting out there in the community and reaching those that need the information. I don't want to preach to people that go to church every day. I want to reach those in our community that don't know the difference between right and wrong per se. I want to reach those that need to see that people could come from our neighborhoods and actually change. So that's pretty much my thoughts on that. I'm trying to reach, I'm on my phone, I'm trying to hook up to my computer right now, so that's why I keep looking down. But that's really okay. That's really what I want to say, and that's where my stance is at right now. I'm actively just trying to get into the community more and reach those that that are looking for a better way, because I just believe so many people are hopeless out there and they've given up. And I want to show them, like, all right, listen, man, you can start life. I actually spent over 10 years in prison, and I came home at 38 years old. And I like to explain to them, like that's where my life actually began, and my life is beautiful now. So it's never too late. Like, yous are in your early teens, your late teens and early 20s, and yous are ready to give up on life already. But they don't have the examples to show them that, they can overcome, the drug-infested neighborhoods. They can overcome, the lack of education they may have, that they can overcome all the obstacles that has been set up, to cause them to fall.
And Jerry, Sean was referencing, so is there a new title or a new program, or it's under Elder Brunson's?
No, well, my title in the church is a minister, but I believe everybody has the capacity to be a minister. That's just speaking to those people that needs to be spoken to concerning the situation, I believe.
Okay.
But it's not a new program. What we have is a men's group that we're putting together, that's been put together, that we're meeting, bi-weekly. And we're just talking about the issues that need to be talked about, and we're constantly just inviting more men, and it's growing, and we're giving them the information that they're gonna need to go out into their communities, to reach those that they were called to reach, man, to give them the actual information that can help change their life.
So yeah, so great. So the church and the address, the dates, share with us so that folks that might be here listening to this.
So tomorrow we have tomorrow at 6:30 to 8:30, we're meeting on Elizabeth Street in West Haven at Pastor Andre Thompson Church. The exact address I would have to get off I'm on my phone. Once I launch into this, I can give the exact address.
But if folks want to call you for the future events in the schedule, or what's the best way for them to reach out to you and to contact you for future information?
Oh man, they can contact me personally by phone. Area code 475-201-8548.
Great.
And all you have to do is just text who you are and the information in there, and we'd be more than happy to link up and have you become part of the group and be part of the change that's needed in our society.
Excellent. Sean?
Oh, Jerry is one of those battle axes, man, on the forefront. You don't see him much, but he's around. I like to sit around men that I know not just going to say that they're going to do something, but are actually doing things. Al Kim, I don't know, he turned his camera off. He's another one down there, he understands the context. We've been focusing on the Community Economic Development Group for quite a while. That's another addition to creating, more sustainable public safety mechanisms throughout community, because it actually, the goal of the Community Economic Development Partnership Group is to kind of coordinate and gather all community residents and stakeholders in one particular space to, hold conversations and, figure out ways to build progress from the bottom up approach, community led and driven ideas that produce sustainability and create change amongst us all.
Excellent.
El Kim.
Yeah, El Kim, welcome. Just unmute yourself and let's hear from your melodious voice, because you have the if I can get somewhat personal, you guys know my kind of stick at the I'll kind of throw in some innuendos, but you have a melodious voice. You have your father's melodious voice, and you have your mother's melodious voice, because you think of those two voices harmonizing. But share with us in terms of pick up what Sean had just referenced.
Right, no doubt, no doubt. Good evening, everyone. Yes, I killed Salam, and me and Sean been building together for about 2 years now. And it's a pretty much it's a step-by-step plan for the community to move from crisis to self-sufficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the plan is active in Washington, D.C., and it was developed by, my father, Mustafa Abdul Salam. And he developed the plan based on his interaction with the city of New Haven, and he applied it in D.C. And over the last 10 years, he's got excellent results. So me and Sean thought, like, if this was the testing ground and it had excellent results in a place similar to New Haven, but they had their own dynamics, but they applied it and they got the results they wanted, we figured
Mm-hmm.
we could transpose that onto what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
And what we wanted the community to understand is it's not an organization in itself, but it's an organization of the community.
Mm.
And so in New Hallville, I know you heard of the App Foundation. They had a campaign trying to keep the App Foundation moving into the Dixwell part of New Hallville, about around Elizabeth Street.
Mm-hmm.
And what just the whole incident exposed the community's ability to or inability to mobilize and protect itself in real time. And so that whole organization that was centered around that campaign developed itself into something that was similar to that, which is exactly what the community needs: an ability to respond simultaneously and collectively in a matter of seconds, or however time needed, to whatever comes to the community, positive or negative.
Mm-hmm.
So CEDP was a connection with that. It's just a central nerve point for pretty much right now New Hallville, but for the Black community in New Haven in general, to be able to respond and react to something in the time necessary for us to capitalize and not get caught out like we have been over the years when opportunities have slipped through our hands, and we see great opportunity in the Dixwell and New Hallville neighborhoods. There's $1 million projects and throughout the city, and we need involvement. And in order for that, the involvement is a collective push and a collective understanding. And we
Indeed.
believe that that collective push and that collective understanding can transform into a mechanism to move the community from where we're at right now to a powerhouse in general within the state.
Excellent. And
So
Elkim and Sean, share how, in terms of for CEDP, how folks can kind of reach out, find more information, kind of join in the cause, and contribute in the best way that they can.
Right. So you can contact me or Sean. I can leave my information where you can contact CDP directly, and you give me your information. I'll send you an email as to how people can become a part of it. They can pick and choose which aspect they'd like to be a part of. All input is respected and necessary. Our approach is it's a bottom-up philosophy where the people guide and control the movement of the community and whatever organizations are involved with the community, and the response of the community as a whole comes before any organization or any individual person. And that's the main mission that we want people to understand. And I heard you speak about earlier educating people in the community. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
In regards to having people understand what's at stake and how to mobilize themselves and to get involved. And that's exactly what this mechanism is for, is to give people an understanding on how, from where they are right now, meet people where they're at within the community and show them from that point how they can directly influence what's going on around them, and they can take control and have a voice and advocate for themselves.
And what's the best number, Elkim, or
It's
website?
475-434-5321.
Okay, repeat that once again.
That's 475-434-5321.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
And the email address is cedpofnewhaven@gmail.com.
Excellent. Sean?
My contact information is 203-928-8708. That's
Excellent.
203-928-8708. And again, as it relates to, what I really kind of wanted to expound about, all of this stuff is how we address public safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're working with children that can't read, can't deal with math, have no inclination of what work looks like because they've never been able to deal with an internship, any type of job opportunity, then what do we expect from them? Like we're looking for we're trying to get water out of rocks right
Mm-hmm.
now, and that's impossible, right? That's a mission impossible. But what we do have in this community is we have an opportunity of a lifetime, and probably more a better opportunity than a lot of other communities have because of the stakeholders that we have around us. Um, they just have to decide to be willing to sit at the table amongst us, not plan for us, but
Mm-hmm.
work with us in helping us develop plans that we know are worthy of trial and error approaches to gain successful momentum in our communities. And then, they all have to be willing to give us time. We get pressed and get grants for 6 months and 1 year trials on things that's supposed to impact a person's life for a multitude of years. But
Mm-hmm.
we've been oppressed for a multitude of years, and it takes time to get people to become trusting. It takes time for people to become conditioned to get back into a progressive state of mind. And that's the one thing that we seem to always lack when we're getting a little bit of opportunities from individuals, is
Mm-hmm.
the opportunity to have time to really research what's going to work and what isn't going to work for us. But what one thing I will say is these men that you see on this screen right now, and others, and the other women in our community, we have to recognize that we're the new scientists, we're the new doctors, we're the new therapists, we're the new things that and the new people that are going to bring all of these different ingredients and all of these different cures into a space that in a 20-year span could produce so many different results for our community that we will be fortunate to still be here to see it. I would hope I would still be here to see it in 20 years, but even if I don't, I'm going to invest every waking second that I have in making sure that, those endless possibilities can begin to take fruition due to what we decided to do today
Mm-hmm.
and for days to come.
And Del Latitude, or if you're muted, but if you'd like to kind of comment, where in some ways Sean and El Kim and Jerry were lifting up at the beginning of this year what our affirmations and visions and desires are in terms of us girding our loins. Jerry, how are we going girding our loins for 2024 and being healthy, wealthy, and productive? So, Brother Arlick, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
How you doing, man?
Hey, brother.
Everybody's just been chatting, and many of the folks on the call here, talking about our really lifting up and publicly not testifying, but just recommitting ourselves to the path that we're walking. Share a little bit about you have the store, you've had the basketball thing, and kind of introduce yourself in terms of your commitment's been several decades long for bringing peace on earth, goodwill toward women, men, and children here in the New Haven area.
I'm Dre Alec, from Ashman Street Project area. But I'm in cahoots with Sean. We do a lot of work together now. But if we want to go back, we 12-year anniversary Stop the Violence, starting in 2011 when my brother died, Donnell Alec. But since then we had summer program, after school programs, programs sold to the city, different type of collaborations. But the goal now is more so to like find a focus point to where like, how can we help our youth? How can we help our men? How can we build more environments where men can be vulnerable, comfortable, safe spaces for everyone to an extent. But more so building the bridges and connecting the dots, I feel is key. It's not a one-man mission.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not and it's going to take men from all eras to kind of make this thing happen. So that's where we at right now. It's like we've been talking. I know everyone's been talking in their own little subgroups. But now it's like finally started like let's putting it together. Let's start linking up with all the right people because we just never know who's doing what. And it's going to start with us.
Mm-hmm.
So like this year is so valuable with connecting the dots and getting this plan off the ground. The goal is to push motivated kids through Sean, push his nonprofit, and collaborate with every other initiative. Initiatives is definitely key to me because just I know we always do a Father's Day event at Ashman Street Park. And the goal is more so just for fathers to bring kids out, fathers and kids, for everybody to know each other. We go through this issue with kids killing each other and their mothers was best friends in high school, or their fathers was this, that. My vision with that was more so for kids to know that we all cool, and create that village mindset to where if my son or my daughter is out doing something wild, Sean is able to check that. And she know that because of this initiative we started. But even that, I'm just big on fatherhood right now. I never had a dad, so I did have a dad. He just was going a little too early, and I take pride in being a father, being in my kids' lives and every step of the way, and that's key. So it's more so it was a mouthful, but it's more so we just trying to pull everybody together at this point.
And Jerry and Elkim, before I come back to you two. Tell me, brother, about the what's kept you kind of motivated and committed over this decade plus more. That's I think people need to hear that it's not an easy task to keep your eyes on the prize and to get up each morning and to try to be in your right mind and really maintain your optimism and not to kind of be to be depressed or to wallow in despair, as they say. What's kind of kept you focusing on the path and even just the planning for 2024. It's so great to hear that.
So in my past is more so like my reasons why, my kids. Those are my reasons why. And just making sure like I'm doing something the opposite of what I used to do. I did a lot of BS in the streets. So it's more so like my giving back. I didn't have me. So that's more so like I know it's kids out there. I know it's people out there that need somebody like me. And the last year or so, like year and a half, Sean been really the motivator, honestly. I won't lie. Before I got my restaurant, I moved to Charlotte. I wasn't too thrilled with coming back and kind of being like on the community activist side. Linking up with Sean over last year, he's like kind of really kept me like in sync and like got me ready to get back out here and be what I'm supposed to be. So I'm feeding off his energy, honestly. And I think it just need to be more of that.
So I shouldn't consider him to be a pain in the butt. Then you're saying I should consider him to be an inspiration. I'll take that under advisement. Talk, Jerry and Elkim, just before I come back, you guys. Talk to us about the restaurant, the location, and you've gotten some publicity, and it's important for people to understand that we can break bread together and be harmonious together, and also kind of strategize and have time. So share with people the address of this, your hours and the menu, etc.
300 Dixwell Ave, New Haven, Connecticut. Soul food and seafood, kind of like a mix of both. Hours is we open up at 12 to 8. Sometimes I'm open up earlier. Sometimes I stay open later. I guess that's the advantage of being a business owner. But it's in my old area, so it's like it's a gift and a curse because it's like everybody watched me grow up. Everybody know my brothers, know my father, so it's like all my childhood friends. So it's a good thing. But it comes with a lot of stuff. But overall, I'm proud of it because it's something me and my daughter started out of the projects. Me and her cooking. She's in culinary. I'm hoping to give this to her. So it's part of my long-term plan. So I'm cool with that. I'm not against that.
Excellent. And did you give the telephone number or you guys do delivery at all or
203-691-6364. That's the restaurant number. Yeah, we do catering as well. We just did a wedding in December. So that was like something big for us. But yeah, we do a lot of catering.
And the address again?
300 Dixwell Ave, New
All
Haven,
right.
Connecticut.
All right. And are you behind? Are you? I mean, are you the chef too? Are you one of the chefs also?
Yeah, I'm the chef. I'm the founder.
Okay, man. I'm gonna come out there and test it out.
Definitely.
Jerry,
Yeah.
talk to us, because I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't remind people about with your being connected with Elder Brunson and with Donald Morris and Brothers Getting Busy, met here in New Haven for roughly 15 years on the Sundays, and not to mention the Christian Community Commission. So you come from you're in a lineage of folks, of Black men in particular, trying to kind of not let the past be the past, but to kind of create our future, as Sean had mentioned. But just talk to us a little bit, and then El Kim, I want you to kind of elaborate a little bit more on because you're involved with the men's program at male mentorship at Community Action Agency. Jerry?
All right. Yeah, I'm glad. Can I just respond to something Diari said?
Please,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, I appreciate the words that he just spoke concerning, fatherhood. The meeting tomorrow, the men's meeting tomorrow is the topic is daddy issues, breaking generational curses. And it's on 2 Elizabeth Street. So when he was saying that, and my soul just started rejoicing, because I realized that we are all on the same page. We just got to find a way to link up together, because everybody really is about the same thing. We're just all in different lanes doing it. And we have to find a way to organize this thing where we can all come together. You know what I mean? And because there's movement in numbers. And I believe that the more numbers we have, the more these people who are walking around here lost can see the options. Like, they can see the entrepreneurship. He's talking about being a business owner. I'm a business owner. I have a business partner. We own our own construction roofing company. I'm wearing a shirt right now. And it's funny because they think that they have to sit here and struggle. Like, we all come from a background where we was used to having fast money and doing certain things and certain lifestyles. And they just need to realize, the youth, the young men out here need to realize that they have options, that they're smart, that they're not dumb. They're not what the teachers are telling them they are. They're not what society is telling them they are. You know what I mean? They just got to find their creativeness and who they are, and then manifest that thing. But I just wanted to reiterate what he had said, because I think that's very important. You know what I'm saying? Moving forward, us coming together, even though we're all in different lanes, because the one thing, and Sean knows this too, because we linked up too. The one thing I want to say is, this ain't about having a figurehead. This is just about people coming together, a movement. It ain't about who getting credit. It ain't about. I heard someone say something about it ain't about the organization. It's about the purpose and the cause. It ain't a church movement. It's not an organization. It's a humanity movement. It's a people movement. And when we see it like that, you know what I mean? We could easily come together and make this thing work in an effective way. I just want to see us come together. So when he said that, man, like I said, once again, I was just happy. But coming from where I come from, with Apostle Brunson and Pastor Morris and a lot of other people who've done a lot of great things in this community, you know what I'm saying, the forerunners, I just want to take the torch and keep running. They're getting older. They don't got the same legs they used to have. So, I just took the torch. I got some strong legs. I got a strong back right now. You know what I mean? And I have a strong foundation, and I understand my purpose. And that's what a lot of people lack in our society. They lack the purpose and the understanding. So they're walking around aimlessly. They're walking around like in a wilderness state of mind, because they don't know what they're supposed to do. They don't have no direction to go into. So they're just existing from day to day, from minute to minute, second to second, just existing. But once you could put a purpose in an individual and you show them that purpose, you gave them something to grab hold to and run with. And that's what they're lacking, the vision to run with something. So my whole purpose right now, and the people that I'm linked up with and people that's running with me, is to show people their purpose, because I didn't understand my purpose. I was misled. I was misguided. I was misinformed. And I thought the people who were telling me this information were the people I was supposed to look up to. But now I realize that it takes a strong man. And it takes a man who wants to learn to turn around and proceed forth. And that's all I'm trying to do.
And Sean, I want to come to you also about your business that you're involved with. Kim, talk to us about the male mentorship, male involvement, the really gets lifting up, nurturing, and spreading the love among us.
Right. So I'm the coordinator of a program called the Father Factor at Community Action Agency. I've been there about 2 years now. We work with fathers 18 years and older. We do basic case management in regards to just helping them either get their life on track or accomplish specific goals that they might have hindered by, and they just need an extra push, some insight or resources, and we provide that for them. And we also have group sessions once a week. Now it's going to be twice a week. And we have a curriculum. It's called 24/7 Dad. That's a universal curriculum, but I also add other things to make it more relevant to the population that we're dealing with. And a lot of fathers, they like you said, they need a safe space where they can express themselves and they can interact with other individuals that either have similar or the same struggles. And my biggest thing is finding resources for fathers, especially single fathers who have custody of children, and it's all on them. And there's plenty of things for mothers in those situations, but I have fathers with infant children, children under 6, and they the sole providers. But there's nothing, there's no safe catch for them when they slip. There's no resources for emergencies. So the struggle is pretty much, a lot of it is economics and just having resources for them to stabilize themselves. A lot of fathers interact with me and contact me before coming home for incarceration so that they can have a program to dive directly into that could guide them on the path and give them a sense of support and stability while they transition back into society. So it's every aspect of being a father, and particularly in the environments that we come from, is what I deal with. And the struggle is always resources, but like everyone has said on this call, if our accumulated efforts are put together, I'm pretty sure we could discover that there are more resources than we think, and it'd be a lot easier to do the work, and we could do a greater and faster just with the mass participation of each other. And I also have a group called Zola. It's one that was developed by my mother, but it's dealing with trauma and loss. Her name is Katora Bryant, and she put it together as a bereavement care to deal with, at first, people who have lost loved ones in regards to a funeral service and things provided by the funeral home, but she expanded it to just dealing with trauma and loss in general. So a lot of the fathers from my group also participate in that. And so that's something that we could all connect on, because like you said, it's very similar work. And specifically trauma and loss, because I think that's one of the great impediments to the growth and development of the community, is the ability to move past what we've been through and to put it into a perspective where it could be a learning process rather than something that keeps us from growing and developing and interacting with each other in a healthy manner. And I think that goes for not only us as adults, but especially for the youth, because the youth have they don't have a voice. They're developing a voice and they need advocacy, because that's the nature of the situation. So I'm all about particularly fathers. I study the statistics all the time that show what the lack of presence of a male in the home and men in the community, how they directly connect to social ills from suicide, incarceration, pregnancy, dropout, drugs. They all connect back to the lack of a male presence in the community and in the homes. So I think that the duty we're doing in regards to that is at this time the most important thing that needs to be done for our people.
And Kim, the number for the Community Action Agency where folks can kind of find out about your program or contact you?
Right, that's Father Factor 475-241-5271.
And is there any cost to participate?
You just have to live in the greater New Haven area, which is all the Havens and Hamden, and you must be a father over the age of 18.
Excellent. Brother Sean, talk to me
Yes,
about
sir.
what was a perfect, what's the name of one? I mean, several businesses, but was perfect.
So Prince on Deck is my
Prince on
printing
deck.
company.
Prince on deck.
Yep,
Yeah.
Prince on Deck. So Prince on Deck is an extension of RHR Print, Copy and Digital Service Providers. I just changed the name. You know, I finally found something that was going to service myself, my needs, and all of my efforts. So, you know, when you see Prince on Deck, you'll see a little bear somewhat similar to Winnie the Pooh. It's not exactly the Winnie the Pooh bear, but my son was real Winnie the Poohish growing up as a kid. So, you know, I used the bear as a symbol of remembrance as to why I do some of the things that I actually do. Been active since 2020, service a lot of individuals, NAACP, Sickle Cell Foundation, CARE, Yale, you know, a number of different organizations, nonprofits,
Give people an idea.
specialize in printing, like full color printing, custom graphic designs, embroidery, screen
So I mean,
print, anything print,
from mugs, the t-shirts, the banners, to the
anything
blimps,
print,
the blimps,
signs.
signs.
If vehicle wraps, if you need it, you know, one thing I do is I have a network of other Black printers that might specialize in certain areas that I don't. So we try to, you know, stay connected in those capacities. If I don't do something, I do know exactly who can get it done. So I pass the buck along to them free of charge, you know, just to make sure we keep it inside the network.
All right.
You guys always all know, you know, I've been instrumental with Sport Academy since 2013. That was the program that actually, you know, put me back on the path of, you know, trying to save lives, man. I tell a story that chess saved me. You
Mm.
know, when I really couldn't see, or my mind was just really clouded after my son's passing, I didn't know what direction I was going to take, you know. I ran into somebody who stopped me from putting myself back in the prison system to do something stupid, but then gave me a window that allowed me to see that I can create more opportunities and promote life and don't have to, you know, just sit around death through the game of chess. So, you know, that was the start of my journey.
Mm.
Since then, you know, I've been moving around, doing a lot more. People probably tell you I'm everywhere doing everything, but I'm a nosy individual and I need to learn.
Well, you know,
You know,
Sean, drill down a little bit, if you would, in terms of your violence prevention work, and then Jerry, I want to come to you because you mentioned is that a logo? You said you had a logo on your shirt there. So
Yeah.
so Sean, did Sean design it for? Is that one of the
Not another gentleman designed this for me.
all right, but you'll get back on the good foot with your next one. All right,
Absolutely.
but Sean, so drill
so
down. Yeah.
I've been working with this organization, Connecticut Against Gun Violence, since 2021. You know, we sat through New Haven in about 6 to 7 months, you know, did a series of listening sessions to cultivate a blueprint for Office of Violence Prevention that New Haven has. They're currently planning on, I believe, utilizing a lot of the options that were in the blueprint. And they're currently working on some other things to, I guess, deal with a council now. I think a community council for, you know, some violence reduction strategies. But I've been with them for a couple of years now, learning a lot around legislative agendas, you know, making sure that there's funding for violence prevention organizations across the state. So that way, you know, they can actually do the work that they're supposed to do in a much more impactful way, but be compensated for the time and the service work that these men and women do because it's dangerous.
Mhm.
There's a lot of long, exhausting hours, you know, and a lot of them weren't really getting paid to do the kind of work that they're doing.
Talk to us a little bit about Sean. You were in DC, was it 4 or 5 weeks ago? And D Ray, all I can say is someone was putting up plates of that he was having food that he was eating in DC. I'm sure it was not as good as yours, D Ray, but so talk us about that Washington experience and why you were there.
So every year they have a gun violence convention in Washington, D.C. around December, and it's also a national prayer vigil for, all of the families that's been affected by gun violence. I believe Poe and her organization may have started this thing, after those Sandy Hook incidents and stuff like that. But,
Mm-hmm.
there's still it's a way to pay homage because they do pay tribute to families inside of local neighborhoods across the country as well. It's a way to go out there. I normally go out there for information. They have a new Office of Violence Prevention at the White House level now, so
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to kind of hear about that, those initiatives, what are they doing to address funding shortages and all of the other things that we've talked about over the last couple of years, because the gentleman and the young lady who actually are running that office in DC, they were actually once sitting in a crowd with all of us, having the same complaints and issues. So it was good to kind of see them
Mm.
there, be able to really reiterate, conversations with them again, and get a feel that they have boots on the ground and they're really doing the work that they say they're doing. So it's always, for me, it's an opportunity to go and get information and then come back and then share it with the community as best I can.
Excellent. Let's take another 10 or 12 minutes or so and kind of throw it around, whatever questions or concerns might be on your heart, mind, and soul, and you can ask one another or just move to a topic that's relevant for you as we kind of again bolster ourselves and recommit ourselves for a prosperous 2024, not just for individuals, but for the collective good. Anybody would like to jump
Well,
in?
so let me just say real quick, I got Jerry here for a reason because I've been talking to Diari. Diari is really interested in making sure that, we start getting pastors out, in some of these little hot areas around our neighborhoods, kind of talking to people in the neighborhood about, changing their lives. Like, one thing we know as business owners, if we don't clean up our areas, then our businesses are going to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
People are scared to come into the community just because, and it's not even that people are really doing a lot wrong. They're just hanging out. They don't
Mm-hmm.
have anywhere to go. They don't, they're lost. I go over to the Ari spot frequently. I talk to a few of the individuals that's outside. I know a couple of them, they suffer from alcoholism and stuff like that. So, I know Jerry is interested in coming outside with this
Mm-hmm.
work now. So this was a
Mm-hmm.
good opportunity for him and Diari to kind of just see each other, meet each other for a minute. And we're gonna have some much more deeper focused conversations after this, to see how we can start implementing these things. But the goal is to take all of our side conversations that we're having all around the city, um, knowing what we know, and especially me, knowing all of these individuals, and kind of bring us all into a same room, man, in a consistent platform for all of the opportunities that we want to actually present and give to our community. We're gifts, and we want to give these gifts back to
Mm-hmm.
our community in ways that are plentiful, and very meaningful. I think, now's the time, man. 2024 has never been a time like now, so we better do it now, or else we might not be able to do it next.
Mm-hmm. Jerry, I see you smiling. Is that a smile of affirmation and commitment and promise?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a smile. Just for what Sean said, just being a bridge that could connect individuals, you know. Um, I stay in like I said, I stay in my lane. I don't try to jump lanes, but Sean is in different lanes. He's in different rooms. He's like, I'm a boot, I'm like, I'm boots on, I'm boots on,
Mm-hmm.
wholehearted.
Mm-hmm.
Sean could be in the room, like he said, in DC, getting information, coming back, sharing it with five different other people in five different lanes. But I think it's time for these lanes to really come together, because
Mm-hmm.
our our, our point is, or the agendas are the same across the board. We're just taking different approaches, and there's nothing wrong with a different approach, you know, because people need different approaches. But the goal is the same. Let's reach these
Mm-hmm.
people that
Mm-hmm.
that are in need. Let's give them the information that they need. Let's give them the resources that they need. And that way we can really change the dynamics of our community. The brother, I can't think what the brother said, but he was talking about when the App Foundation was trying to come to Dixon and Elizabeth. I was out there
Mm-hmm.
protesting on the corner across the street from 2G's shop. I was out
Mm-hmm.
there literally, you know what I mean, making my stance. We don't want this in our community,
Mm-hmm.
because this is our community. It took a long time for the bill to get cleaned up to where it's at now, and you're trying to bring nonsense back into the community. This is how we have to come together. We have to make our voices heard in our community. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's gonna take time sacrifice. And that's what it's about. It's about sacrificing our time for the greater good.
And DRA,
Yeah.
let me hear from you a little bit.
Well, I agree. Piggybacking on Sean, I definitely wanted to get somebody out here, get some preachers and pastors out here to just start saving people. My voice going out there and telling them every day, yo, you can't be out here, you can't be out here, you can't be out here. It ain't like I'm gonna call the cops. So I figured this would be a way. And it was a joke when I was talking to Sean, because I was like, nah, Sean, I know how I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna get people to come pray for them. And it's gonna really scare them off. Either it's gonna scare them or somebody really gonna end up getting saved. You get what I'm saying? But
Amen.
That's what I grew up on. When I was a kid, I remember the pastor from Wayfaring Ministry. He used to always be out on streets with the mic. And I think something like we do need to take the old school route on how we need to do things again. It need to be like, no, forget social media. Like, people don't really know you through social media. It ain't like everybody gonna follow trend, and that's just social media. But we need to be like hands-on, really out here touching the people. Like, I feel good like when I deliver my own food to somebody. Because they get to go, damn, the owner delivered the food to me. But I get it. I get why. It makes it more of a relationship. And then it's like that's like my mindset, especially for my establishment here, until the gentrification is done with all this new development. But that's really like what I've been dealing with over here, honestly. And that's a good approach. It'd be a good collaboration, honestly. Because I got a friend, one of my best friends, he's into the church field heavy, and that's something he's going towards. So,
Jerry, did I hear D-Ray mention the word Wayfaring Ministries? Does that ring a bell to you?
Yes, and I want to get your number from Sean. Is that all right?
Yeah. I'm gonna leave my number in the messages over here.
Yeah, and that man you was talking about with the bullpen out there, that's my father-in-law.
Word! I went to that church. I know everybody from there.
And let me tell you something. That method he used was very effective. We've just gotten away from making that presence felt in the streets in our communities. And this is what we're doing right now. We're building these men up to go back into these different communities with that same mentality, with that same vigilance to go speak to the men like, yo, you use the mailbox as our pulpit.
Yep.
Use the mailbox as our pulpit, you know what I mean? And really speak to those, because this is why he has such a powerful men's ministry, because this is what he was after. He was after men because he knew that our society will only get better if the men were raised up.
Yep.
Right? Because if the men were raised up, we're gonna do the right thing by our wives, and we're gonna do the right thing by our children. You know what I mean? And that's what he instilled. That's why I said I'm just taking the torch and running. But I definitely want your math, so I can bring me and a couple of our brothers out there, and we can minister to those men out there. And like you said, either they're gonna get saved or they're gonna get tired of seeing us coming up there talking to them.
Word.
El Kim, jump in. We have about 9 minutes, everyone. So just as topics or thoughts or affirmations or prayers or whatever you want to say, let's just take advantage of the time. El Kim, what's cooking in your body, mind, and soul at the moment?
I just want to reiterate the point of everybody coming together and on a unified front, and just the idea of CDP and how we envision a bottom-up approach, where it's the community itself that's the guiding force of everything. It's a collective understanding that we decide the environment we want to live in, the opportunities that we choose to partake in, and if we want to allow anybody inside or out of our community to take advantages of the resources we have. So I'm all about the collective front, taking full control. I think a lot of the problems that we go through can be remedied easily by that understanding. People who seem out of place can have places to go, because it's all about a creative effort to do something that's outside of the box, but has been needed to be done, and is pretty much the only sensible thing to do, which is to allow people to define the environment they want to live in based on them being educated and knowing what's best for them. So like yeah, I'm all for everybody, anybody for all of you especially to collaborate and to create and reinforce what we're doing and to put together something that can enhance what we're doing and tie it all together.
Excellent, excellent. Sean or Jerry or D-Ray, just the mic's open.
Listen, I just want to let all these brothers know, and you as well, Mr. Fickler, man, I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? But if you take a look at the screen, even though you don't see the Ari face, this is the start of bridging our generational gaps across the board. You know what I mean? Because it's important. It's necessary that our young minds know that they still need to connect with the older bodies, and our older bodies need to know that they still need to connect with the younger minds in order to keep this energy flowing back and forth continuously. Like it's not a one-way system, it's a two-way system. Energy flows back and forth, and we got to make sure we establish that kind of link, that chain, in that operational capacity again, and then we're going to be fine.
D-Ray?
I'm just glad to be a part of it, honestly. And I get to bring my era of kids, my era of men and youth to this. I know I'm a valuable piece to this because I'm pretty much the youth.
Excellent.
So I understand what's going on. I'm a team player, so I'm down.
Jerry, just before I give you the last word, I want to ask you, D-Ray, just a little bit of a diversion, just to when the fact that you have a business, people don't understand that's rent, that's leasing, that's your business plan, and buying seafood, the price of seafood fluctuates like crazy, that you're dependent on supply chains or things being available, and you may not be able to buy in bulk like bigger folks. So I guess want to give you a chance to kind of talk about the challenges of being an entrepreneur, and also want to salute you for locating yourself on Dixwell in the heart of the Black community, and we got to clean that up. So we just talk a little bit about this, your entrepreneurial passion, and I just want folks to understand that this is not like selling T-shirts out of your trunk. I'm not trying to embarrass anybody, but I'm just saying you have an establishment, a lease, the heat, the inspections, the health inspector comes in, the regulations you have to, the taxes. There's so much that you're doing.
Well, a lot. I went through over the summer. I went through a lot of harassment from health department, fire marshals, building, zoning, police. Like everybody done came here. So it's a lot of challenges, and it's like constantly being creative. Just through the slow times, through other businesses open up. Everybody not gonna eat the same thing every day, obviously. So it's just ways of staying relevant, ways of staying creative. That's why I do catering events, discount for the teenagers, the high school kids. And I just try to stay on it and budget. Budgeting is like key. And like right now, I'm just learning about like distributors and credit cards, and I didn't come into it knowing a lot. So like I didn't know about credit cards. I'm still like illiterate to credit cards. It was always like a fear when you was younger. Don't get credit cards, but it's more so like I'm learning a lot in it. And I'm down for it. So I'm cool with the ups and downs. But I know I survived it 2 years, 3 years now.
Indeed.
I'm gonna be in it. I'm gonna be in this for a long time.
Indeed, and not to, and Jerry, I'm coming to you for kind of closing last word, and D-Ray, not to put Trinity Temple on blast, or not to put Varick on blast, or not to put Dixwell United Church of Christ on blast, or St. Martin de Porres, but if one Sunday a month, if they get catered something from you for their after church program, so there's, and again, I know those ministers, and I'm not trying to pick on Chucky or formerly Reverend Streets or Reverend Steele or Joe at St. Martin de Porres. But there's ways for us to kind of reach out and Beulah Land, so you're surrounded by potential customers that I'm hopefully will see that we can break bread together and profit together. Jerry,
now that'd be dope.
So let's see if we can lift that up. And even Wayfair, you could deliver stuff out there.
Yeah, those are my peoples. I went to church out there when I was a kid.
Not that far. And Jerry, I'm not going to talk about your main squeeze or your better half, but I know both you guys like to travel and eat because of all those plates I see from the cruises that you guys are on. But I'm just saying, I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
Yo, but that even it's funny that you said that, because so many people in our community never left the hood. They've never gone nowhere. That's all they know. Because it was on all I knew at one point in my life was New York City. That's it. You go up there, get what you got to get, you come back. That's all we know. So even you saying that, going back to D-Ray, he has a business.
Yes.
People need to see that outside of that Dixwell community. People need to see that in the Hill. They need to see that in the Trey. They need to see that out West Hills. They need to see that everywhere. They need to know that they have options to be better.
Yes.
And they need to know how to get from A to Z, how to navigate that terrain. Like he was talking, it's so funny. He was talking about credit cards and all of that. When me and my business partner first got our business, we was pulling money out of our business account, not knowing we was hurting ourselves. Yeah. We didn't even know how to take money out of our business because we didn't know how to pay ourselves. It was just like, yo, we made this amount of money, this half yours, this half mine, and we was just going in there grabbing what we want. We didn't understand about building business credit, business equity. We didn't know nothing about that. So when it came time to do our taxes that first year, we was like, wow, we owe all of this. But thank God that we had the money to pay that. But it's so much we have to learn. And as we're learning, like Sean said, we got to start passing the information along. You know what I mean? Somebody should have told us about that. But nobody opens their mouth, just like nobody in the community opens their mouth when they see somebody's child, you know what I'm saying, doing something that they shouldn't be doing. We turn a blind eye. It was the whole community. You know what I mean? Ain't Dot rest in peace used to be able to beat me when we was little on Shelton Avenue. You know, if she saw me doing something wrong. It was people that had the right to discipline you. Now, don't touch my kids. We got to get out of that mentality, man, because it really does take the village. And once we implement that back into the minds and the hearts of the people, we would truly start to see progress because there will be the accountability factor in place. Right now, there's no accountability in place. We allow the school system to teach our kids, you know what I'm saying, on a low reading level, on a low math level, on a low academic level across the board. And we accept that. The one thing my wife do, and I'm so happy she does, because I have custody of my grandson, one of my grandchildren, and we are actively involved in what's taking place in that school over there.
Yes.
She constantly goes over there. We constantly get update. I have the app on my phone to see the progress that's taking place, the homework that needs to be done. So therefore, we're making sure that our grandson is doing exactly what he needs to be doing. But how many people really go to PTA meetings? How many people really go, you know what I'm saying, on report card time and go meet and go introduce themselves to the teachers? Our parents ain't doing what they're supposed to be doing, and we have to get them back on track. So it's a collective effort across the board. It ain't just about the addiction that's taking place, the violence that's taking place. It's about, you know what I'm saying, the academics, what's taking place. It's about the financial, the mentality, the spirituality, man. Our people need healing across the board.
Gents, I don't think we can improve upon that at the moment. I think that's a good way for us to kind of conclude. And Sean, I guess want you to have reached out. Glad that you reached out to me yesterday, and glad that you gentlemen could take the time for us to chat. And this won't be a runoff or a one-off. If we want to get to the finals, the finals might be at the end of this year, might be at the end of the millennium, but we want to continue to play the game at an all-star level. And so really appreciate everyone here on the call. I think that's it for it. Is everyone of one accord that we can kind of take a break and reconvene at another time? And obviously folks are going to be in touch with one another in the interim. And that's
I sent my number in the messages too.
So
right.
So I want to connect.
I'll make sure.
I want to connect, and it can start like next week.
I'm the bridge for this gap, man. Listen, I'll make sure everybody got everybody information, so that way, you know, again, we can all stay the course.
Excellent.
Yep. Yo, make sure you do that. I'm putting mine in there too, but just make sure you do that, Shot.
Mighty gents, over and out.
All right, thanks a lot,
fellas.
Have a good one, Tom. Thank you.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.